Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's Speaker Chat. I'm really excited today to have the incredible Alicia White join me, and I'm just going to pull up some information here. Hi, Alicia, how are you doing?
Hey, Tracy, I'm great.
Good. Good. I'm just going to make sure we're showing up. I believe we are. Yes, we are live now, so we should be good to go. And we will get started. So today what we're talking about is successful speaking. So strategies and tools that'll elevate your expertise, which is what we all want to do. We want to get out there on those stages and we want to make money doing it. So, right?
Exactly.
So today you're going to talk about strategies that can generate leads, also tools to effectively monetize your message, and products that build credibility and convey trust, because we do business with people we know, like, and trust. So that's
Absolutely.
important. Yeah, so what I want to do first is just read your bio for everybody. So excuse me as I'm looking over here a little bit, but industry leader Alicia White helps you become a successful speaker. She gives effective on and off stage strategies and designs brilliantly branded speaker tools to help you grow your business every time you speak. With years of experience in branding, business, and speaking, clients receive the next steps on how to be successful in speaking. Alicia's latest book, The Successful Speaker's Handbook, Tools, Ideas, and Strategies to Elevate Your Expertise as a Speaker, is endorsed by Tom Ziglar of Ziglar Inc., proud son of Zig Ziglar, and Gail Watson, president of Women Speakers Association. It's available on Amazon, and you can also find it as one of the books that we feature on our WSA bookstore. So it's awesome once again to have you. We've had you as a guest before, but the information is always phenomenal, and I thought it was a great time to bring you back on.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm excited to be here and share what I can, and hopefully someone will pick up some good nuggets that they can use and start elevating their expertise and getting in front of audiences and making some money while they do it.
Right? Can I get a heck yeah from everybody that's watching us right now? And just a quick note, ladies, that you're watching us right now, if you're interacting, if you want to interact on our Facebook page, I will go periodically and go check and read the messages there. If you're watching this throughout our groups, then the messages there will come back and take a look at afterwards. So if you want us to actually read the messages now, definitely go ahead and put them in the Facebook page. Okay. So let's start with the first question. What makes a speaker successful?
Well, one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Successful Speaker's Handbook, is because that's what we're all gaining, and what we're trying to achieve is being a successful speaker. So what makes a successful speaker? What I think about is when I've heard someone speak and I'm going home, I'm driving home and I'm thinking about what that speaker said. And then I get into bed and I start thinking about what that speaker said, what message did they impart? And I'm literally thinking about someone else while I'm in bed. So my thought is, my theory is that if you can make someone think about you while they're in bed, then you are successful at speaking, because you have made an impact. You've imparted some wisdom, a message, a process. Maybe you've taught them something and they're mulling it over in their head, which means they're thinking about you. When people are thinking about you, you're automatically successful. Now, it's good to have someone take your information home, utilize it at the office or in home, or take action. How do we take that a step further and get them to actually, call you and hire you? And that's where some of these speaking tools that we'll talk about today come into play.
Yeah, wonderful. I love the idea, like you're going home and thinking about a speaker in bed. But the ideas that they're putting into your heads, and the things that maybe you've taken away from what they presented. But yeah, then it's like, okay, well, you're talking about taking a step further. Like, what does that mean? Like, I, I can be thinking about you, but if there's nothing for me to do to take it further, then what do I do?
Well, that's a good question, because that's where I come in and help people. But let me tell you what I recommend is to first have your speaking tools. It's like a speaking toolkit. And those are things you're going to have at the back of the room. You've heard of back of the room sales, back of the room tables and exhibit displays. You're going to want to do that. You can be the Zig Ziglars and the Anthony Robbins and the Les Browns of the world, and let's throw in some women there. We're going to get some of the Gail Watsons and Tracy Ammons. You know, we can get those people in there, but you can be selling your packages, your information. You can be putting together CDs and DVDs to give away as a teaser. But one of the things that I think is so important is that even if you don't have anything right now, that's okay. You have one thing you can offer at the back of the room. As you're on stage and you're presenting, at one point, you'll want to invite people to meet you at the back of the room. So what is that one thing that you can give them if you have nothing else? It's your time and your wisdom. You can impart your time and your wisdom, and you can charge for that. Right. But there are a lot of other tools that how we can put that in. So if you want to sell your time and wisdom, coaching, consulting, whatever you want to call that, then have an order form. Oh my goodness. Having an order form is so important because you never know where you're going to be, who you're going to meet. I have a client, Katrina Sawa, who's also a premier Women's Speakers Association. And I was one of her clients as she was my business coach, but she taught me, even though I'm teaching all these other speakers, she taught me to have an order form in my purse everywhere I go because she does and she uses it. And I love that. So at the very least, have an order form where you can charge for your time and your wisdom. You're going to immediately get some kind of lead or revenue from that.
And that's interesting, right? Because we don't think about offering that sometimes. And really, you know, you just spoke to these people and you've just shared wisdom, and they probably have questions. And if they want to delve deeper, you know, your time is valuable. Your wisdom is what you've learned over years and years of experience and trial and error and so forth. It's valuable. So I love having an order form with you at all times. That's wonderful.
Having an order form. And then if you really want to build out your back of the room, presence, that's what I'm trying to say. You'll want to have visually branded items, such as something that an audience member can take away. Maybe it's a message postcard. I like to create these 5x7. I should pull out my little handy thing since this is a visual video learning experience. I have some samples somewhere in here. I should have been prepared, but hey, you know what?
It's okay.
TV.
This is awesome. That's what live is about.
I don't know where my stuff is, of course. But at any rate, what I wanted to share is that, you know, you can have, oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I have it right here. Oh, there it is. It's in this other pretty binder because I have to have everything pretty, right?
Right.
So I always have something on the back, like a simple flyer that says on my table that has, hey, would you like to sign up for my newsletter? Hey, would you like to have an introductory call for free? Hey, would you like this? And then they can fill out a form and leave that behind with me. I actually have them fill out this form. That's what I have them check off.
Okay, yeah, so it's something a little bit smaller.
Something a little bit smaller, and they leave it behind. And then they take this part home. And this has all my information. This says what I do. This has all my information. You can go another route, which I really, really like. Oh, here's my Katrina Sawa announcement card that she places on her display table. And what I love about that, it's perfectly branded. It has all of her branding on there. When you open it on the inside, this is something she asked everyone to get before she presents, because she's going to go through these steps and people can write notes as she's presenting.
Yeah, that's
and then on the back, it tells how they can get a hold of her and what else she offers and provides, has her contact information and everything. And this is another one where this gentleman on the front, we have it branded for him. His retractable banner looked very similar to this. It had this visual branding, had a lot of testimonials on there. But when he presented, he talked about FOCUS, focus. And then he went in and shared in detail during his presentation about this acronym, but I think that's what it's called. And but my point is that people took this home. Yes. And they like taking it home, and they don't throw it away easily because it's got, it's a thick cardstock, or even something like this, where that's perforated at the bottom, and you can ask people to leave information behind. But then here's the takeaway.
Right.
Some people like to hang these on their bulletin board or on their filing cabinet. So that's one thing I definitely recommend, is having a tool that someone can take away, that they can take home with them, to kind of support that thinking about that speaker after they've left the event. The other tool is, again, having that form that someone will fill out and leave behind with you, the speaker, so that this is a warm lead. This is cheap, y'all. You can print this off on your, that's not like a TV commercial, the wow product. Anyway, this is cheap. Print these 4 up on a piece of paper on your computer, on your printer, and then cut them yourself and have them available so that you've got instant warm leads. This isn't a cold lead. This is a warm lead. These are people who resonated with you while you were talking. And that's, just some, and that's just little stuff. I mean, we can talk about banners and things like that, and go into the DVD packages that you may want to sell, or CDs that you may want to give away.
So that's an awesome tip, and a great tool is to have something physical, not just a business card where people are going to lose it or lose interest. Having, something like, some of them are almost like your speaker sheet, right? For some of the people that you're showing us examples for. I love the Katrina's where, she's imparting her wisdom and you're making notes. You're more likely to keep that because it's in a nice size, easy to kind of tuck in your purse or your briefcase, right? And go back and look at it. And then you're going to go, okay, wait a second. I learned so much during this that I need to reach out to her to, find out what else she offers or whatever, right? So, you're showing that value, you're giving them that tool, and you're making them want more. Really what we want to do is we want people to want more. We want them to learn from us when we speak. We always want to be giving value, but we always want them to want more.
Yes. And, early on when I started Back of the Room Productions, so my history is I've been a graphic designer for so years, and I was serving a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses. And I had a small business owner come to me and say, Alicia, can you produce something like this for me? I want to hand this out to the people when I speak. I went, oh, are you speaking? Yes. So she started speaking to promote her business. And it got me thinking. I thought, why isn't everyone doing this? Why isn't every small business owner and entrepreneur doing this? Because even at the Chamber of Commerce or at a networking event, even a BNI, you will have a 5-minute or 10-minute opportunity to talk about your services. You always do. So why not have something like this to start out with? And then when you get into the bigger events, when I started out as a speaker, I had everything because I needed to show other speakers what I could do for them. So it wasn't unusual for me to be walking around with an 8-foot tall banner where I had me on there, and I kept looking up at me going, she's taller than I am, and on the banner. But when I started looking at other speakers, I started thinking, oh, they're missing out on opportunities. They're leaving money on the table because they're not even collecting leads. They're just collecting business cards, and they don't even know if that person's interested or not. At least when you ask questions like, would you like my free gift about XYZ, that's something that they want and will probably use.
Right. And they've given you their email address and actually physically written it out for you. So that's like you said, that's a warmer lead in itself, right? As opposed to, okay, here's my business card.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they
Exactly.
know you probably won't call them.
And, oh my gosh, isn't follow up awful? I mean, there's some women that we know that love follow up, and I just have not gotten into that yet.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, we leave money on the table for that, but
We
you're
do.
making it easier for the tools that you're talking about. You're making it
Yes,
easier for you to do your follow up. And
exactly.
because you're not going in cold, right? You're like, okay, this
No,
person's actually interested, so I am going to follow up, as opposed to I have this business card and I bet you they don't remember talking to me. So when I call them, it's not going to maybe go as well as I would like it to, right? So,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, and before I even started gearing my services towards speakers, I collected one business card after another with the intention to follow up. Now, I did actually do follow up. I didn't like it, but I did do it. And then when this process came about, I realized, oh, this is so much easier. Now I don't have to guess whether these people want my services or not.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, one thing for people to take away today is to make sure you have a little form, that little one that you showed us, like some version of that. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be nice, and branding, like you said, have a little bit of branding on. And I think we're going to touch on that on our next question. I just want to give a shout out to people that are watching or going to be coming back in and watching afterwards. I know a lot of times different slots in the afternoon are maybe not quite as busy, but we get a lot of activity after the fact. As you're watching, listening along, go ahead and put some comments in here, say a shout out for us. We would love to, learn more about what drew you to come and whether you are using any of these tools already. Because, some people might have already have some of these in play, but there's lots of people that haven't.
Oh, I'm always learning. I'm always learning, and I'm always creating something new for somebody, such as this nice little perforated piece that we created for an author and speaker. So I do want to know what you're using now
Yeah.
that we can share with others that's unique. So
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll get you to do that. Like anyone that is watching us right now, please go ahead and put in the comments, what are you currently using as a tool and how is it working for you? Because we would
oh
love
yeah,
to know. Like you said, we're always learning. And I love that you said that because it's like, technology, our expectations, our knowledge, everything is always changing and we're always learning. And as long as you can always keep open mind to things, you're going to just go so much further.
absolutely. With the technology, we I've even tried to develop a chat bot to help speakers with lead generation. And there's so many opportunities out there, and I don't know them all. I'd like to know what they have in mind. And what are what would you like to use that you don't have?
Mm,
Maybe we can create something that, as a Women's Speakers Association exclusive speaking tool.
there you go. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and there's so many things that yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this after. When I'm
Right.
talking, I can't always think of ideas, but I'm sure there's gonna be a few that are gonna come out of this. So let's move on a little bit. You mentioned about branding and you showed us some examples where that branding was quite evident. So why is branding yourself as a speaker so important?
Well, I've got a little story about that visual branding. I want you to think this is something that came to me early on, and I'm so glad it did. It did. When I was at a conference, I remember seeing a speaker with her booth that had her book and her business cards displayed, and then another speaker who spoke on a similar topic where she had that banner, she had her book, she had her business card, she had the leave behinds, the giveaways. And I thought to myself, what is the difference? They both shared such amazing wisdom.
Mhm.
So I want you to think about it this way. Why? Why should you make a pretty package? Why should you have a pretty package at the back of the room? When you go shopping for shoes, you know what kind of pair of shoes you want, and you walk in, you find that pair of shoes on the rack, and you try them on, and they fit perfectly. And there's about 30 boxes of that shoe in your size, in the color that you want. They feel good. You're about to make a purchase. Then you look and you see that there's one box is sitting here and it's pristine. All the edges on the box are crisp. The paper on this side has barely been wrinkled because no one's opened that box. You know how you go through a shoe box and you look to see if they've been tried on or not.
Yeah.
And, and then there's the box next to it, and the edges are torn a little bit. As a matter of fact, a piece of the lid's missing. You look inside and you can tell that the shoelaces are undone and that the paper's been wrinkled, and it just looks askew in the box. But it's the same shoe. It's never been worn. It's brand spanking new. It's the color you want. It fits good, feels good. So why do we choose that box that's in pristine condition over the box that isn't, even though they're the same exact shoe? It's psychology, y'all. It's psychology. We just go for the better package. And that's why I encourage you to have something at the back of the room. And what I love most is having that 8-foot tall banner, because it does double duty. I always say I can defy physics when I have my banner, because I can have me at the back of the room and on stage. I know I'm corny. I have a science background, by the way. And so it is important, because you're just increasing that opportunity for visual branding, because people start seeing the branding over and over again when it's consistent. And I can go on and on about the consistencies of branding and why it's important, but I think you guys kind of get the point.
Definitely. And we've got Jose is saying, hallelujah, I love your analogy, because it's like we can all relate to that, right?
Right.
I mean, I can picture doing that so many times, and it's like, the only way I'd go for the other box is maybe if it was cheaper for some reason, but then I don't know. I don't always do that either, right? Like it's it's a perceived value in some cases when you're talking about two speakers that speak the same, have, valuable content. And part of your branding too is like, who you are, how you dress, how you talk, how you react. That is part of your personal branding as well. But to have, the visual and have something where people can remember you and have that association happening is really important.
Absolutely. And it is true that you really want to resonate. I mean, you really want whoever comes to you to resonate with you, and you want to resonate with them. And yes, we're all different, but if you're selling the same services as someone else, and your package is presented in a unique, doesn't have to be better, but unique to your target audience, that your target audience can understand, then why not do that? Why you just leave money on the table when you don't go with that branding to show what your message is, what solution are you providing, and that perceived value. That phrase right there, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have that opportunity to prove the value that you do offer, but in the beginning, it's that, that first impression or whatever it might be, whatever is that deciding factor, especially when it comes down to, everything's the same until you get to that point. Well, you got to decide. People have to decide how are they going to do it? And so, I mean, it's such a great analogy for us to kind of get our heads around on why it's important to, have that branding, have something, and not just be standing there. I think it's almost like it's more welcoming when you have that branding too. People are drawn to it. If there's not a lot going on around you, then it's, people aren't drawn to it. It's just the nature of who we are as people.
Exactly. If you're a speaker and just have that look and feel expressed at the back of the room for you, so that people can get that same feeling. And that's something that that we can talk about, as far as branding. I don't know if you wanted me to go into that.
Yeah, well, are you talking about visual branding, like what's a must-have for a successful speaker, and like, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure, sure. So I always say there's 3 C's of branding, and that is clarity on who you serve, consistency in your marketing materials, and then having a concise message. Now, just a little bit on each of those. The clarity on who you serve. What you want to think about is, who is your target audience? All right. So I'm talking to speakers right now, but we're also business women. So we can look at target audience as the people we're actually speaking in front of, the attendees to the event, as well as the target audience, your ideal client. They're one and the same, because you want to choose events where at least 80% of your target client sits, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and when we think about who that person is, what do they look like? Who do you serve? What problem do you solve? Or should we say, what problem do they have? And is it consistent amongst all of them? So for example, I like to ask my clients to do a little visualization and jot down some notes. I have them sit and think about their favorite client, the one that brought them the most joy, the one that was the easiest to work with, the one that paid them their worth and on time, and the one that was ecstatic with the results that you give them. Think about who that person is. What is their age? What is their gender? Where do they work? What is their profession? Are they stay at home? Are they teenagers? What is their budget? And then, of course, what is the problem that they have? So the first C is getting clarity on who you serve. Once you've identified that, then you can go into your concise messaging. Well, concise messaging, you can go into building your message. All right, so you build your message, but once you build your message, then you want to consistently promote your message on all platforms, your social media, your printed materials, your speaker sheets, your videos that you do on YouTube, everything that you produce, like digital products, if you send out PDFs. So what does that mean exactly? I showed you a couple of times where you'll see my logo here, you'll see it on other pieces, and even on my order form, and of course on the leave behind. And I have the same colors. I use the same colors in everything that I do. My big banner has these huge circles on them in the background, and it's so pretty. And I have a banner with my book on there and my photo. And that's because I want you to think about it. How many times have you heard this song? Who let the dogs out? Who? Okay, everybody can finish the who part. I wish this were a live audience, because I get everybody singing when I'm at an event with that song. But why do you remember it? Because it's like a song. It's repeated, and it's sang the same way over and over again. The tone is the same, the tune is the same, the beat is the same each and every time. I always say that the first time that I hear a song, I'm like, oh, that's a catchy song. And then if I like it, I'll start singing the chorus. I don't know all the words, but I'm like, eh. And then by the time I've heard it 6 or 7 times, because it sounds the same each and every time, I'm belting it out in my car, and the people sitting next to me at the red light are looking at me like, she's lost it. Yeah, well, I think I'm, voice material, but I don't know if Blake Sheldon would turn around for me or not. However, that point being, you want your messaging to do the same. You want it to stick in someone's head. And whether it's what you're saying, or for example, if you have a tagline that is really catchy, you want to have that in every material that you put together. But of course, keep those colors, the fonts, the look and feel exactly the same throughout every piece. So that's number 2C. And number 3C, going back to that messaging, keeping it concise. We are there are so many things out there grabbing for our attention, pulling us away. And you have to keep that message short and sweet. Use as few words as possible to get your message across. And what again is that message? It's going to tie back to that the ideal client. And that is, what is the solution you provide for that person's problem?
Mhm.
Is it a unique solution? Somehow come up with I'm giving you a to-do action right here. Come up with an 8 to 10 word phrase, or 5 to 10 word phrase that says how you solve a problem, and if you can fit it in there, makes you unique from other people who offer the same.
Mm.
So those are the 3 C's: the clarity on on who you serve, concise messaging, and then of course consistency in marketing.
That's great. Everybody needs to remember those 3 C's. And like you said, the most important to begin with is clarity and who you serve, because you can't serve everybody. You need to really figure out what that niche is and who you can provide the most value to, and then kind of build everything out from there.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So if someone was starting today, what is the first thing they should do?
If you're starting speaking for the first time today, or if you're just now starting speaking, the very first thing I advise is put the word speaker after your name on all of your social media handles. So on LinkedIn, it's my name, speaker, then the title of your business, or your position at your business. Because how are people going to know you're a speaker until you start telling people you're a speaker? And that's the second thing. You start putting on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn, hey, I'm a speaker and I speak on these topics. You're going to create a sheet that has those topics you speak on, and what about those topics? They relate to the people that you want to do business with.
Mm.
And the titles of those speeches, here's another tip. The title of those speeches will be the result, or be the solution to that person's problem. So, for example, one of my talks is the 3 C's of branding: how to set yourself apart from your competition. Everybody wants to set themselves apart from their competition, so I give them the 3 C's of branding. And then you just start speaking everywhere.
Mm.
Do those 5 minutes at meetups. That, look on meetup.com and find groups that have your target audience. Ask people if you can speak at their event. I did that and I was amazed. And my second largest, as far as number of audience members, was because I was standing there chatting with a woman who was talking to another woman and said, oh, I'd like for you to be a speaker at my event. I went, oh, can I be a speaker at your event? I mean, just kind of naive little me 12 years ago, but but she said yes. I was like, oh, okay. So I started speaking, start asking if you can speak.
Yeah.
Once you have those, and the reason why I have you set up those topics and your titles first of what you're going to speak on is because people are going to ask, what do you speak on? Well, you
Right.
give them that. And you
Yeah.
give them that to them in the form of any kind of document, a Word document, send them to your website, or what we call a speaker one sheet, a speaker
Mhm.
sheet. The speaker sheet has has your most popular speaking topics on there, and a description of each topic with some takeaways. For example, Tracy asked me before this video, what will be your 3 takeaways
Mhm.
for this speaker chat for Women Speakers Association? And I gave them to her. I gave her a description of my talk, a title of my talk. Have that on a document. Have that available and ready on your website. Email it. Have it ready. And then for you established speakers, evaluate where you are today. Do you need to refresh your branding? Has your message changed? I have a lot of clients come to me later, 2, 3, 4 years later, say, I'm now focused on this aspect of my business and I'd like to update everything.
Mhm.
That's what I recommend.
Yeah. No, I love the idea of always asking, right? Because it goes back to that. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. It can't hurt to ask. Each of those asks is a growth on your part too, because you're kind of standing on your own, and you want to share your message, and you're making that opportunity possible. So that's a huge tip right there. And then I love like kind of going back to your clarity on who you serve and what their maybe problems are that you can solve, and then using those as the title, and what are they searching for, as the title of your talks, because it's going to make it easy for them to choose you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I have to say, it was through Women Speakers Association that I learned about to speak up, to ask for those events, to tell people that you're a speaker. It was early on when I joined, and that was one of the things that I was able to impart onto my clients and onto my community. Is you have to ask. No one else is going to do that for you. No one else. You've got to
That's
be
really,
your own spokesperson, and that's okay.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you can't
That's
wait for
fine.
everybody to just kind of find you. I mean, obviously make it easy for them to find you, but
Yeah.
still, you still need to take the steps. If this is what you want to do, if this is your business or you want to speak to build your business, then you need to be asking, you need to be searching for opportunities. You need to be taking advantage of things that are being offered to you that maybe you never even considered before, but all of a sudden it's like, this is the perfect opportunity, speaking to my perfect audience, right? So just being aware. Speaker sheets are incredible. Everybody needs one. I don't even have one yet, but
So why
but
haven't we talked yet? Because I designed speaker sheets, y'all.
yes, I know you do.
I'm just
So
kidding.
that's so when we first met, we were talking about speaker sheets, that just more specifically about speaker sheets, but you're talking today about a number of different things. And I think even
Right.
just at the start, you ask to speak and make sure you have that little form that's branded in your colors. Maybe you don't have a logo yet, or maybe you won't have a logo, it doesn't matter, but just have something that's consistent. And when people see it, they're going to relate it to you, right? It's just an important aspect of getting known and getting seen, and showing your expertise is having all these tools in play to help build the awareness and get you on more stages.
You know what I like about you, Tracy, is that you're able to summarize all of my random thoughts into one very cohesive, concise message. Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't ask me what I just said, but I'll listen to it later. I'll see. I appreciate that though. Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, we are actually at the end today, but I know that you have some additional information that people can actually take a look at. So would you like to let people know how they can access it? And then we'll put it in the link um, in the Facebook Live afterwards. And just keep in mind, when you are, you're fine, but as our listeners are going to opt in, they are opting in on something that you're offering. So it's not necessarily something that Women Speakers Association is offering. So if they decide, just I like to let people know, like, if you go ahead and opt in, which is awesome, and I know I will be doing so, just remember that it's from Alicia, right?
Yes, thank you. And I actually do have offers on both of my websites. The first website, speakersheets.com, you can actually download the 5 must-have elements to put on your speaker sheet. I go through each 5 in an audio. You can download the worksheet, and then there's an audio clip that you can listen to. It's kind of self-explanatory,
Okay.
but that's at speakersheets.com. But the one that kind of covers a lot of what we talked about today is a PDF file, a digital file called 7 Tools Speakers Need to Get More Business. And I identify those 7 tools and what they are, and how to get them, how to start using them so that you can benefit and get those results and get that business. And that's
That's
at
awesome.
backoftheroomproductions.com.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just copying that because you gave me that information before, so I'm just trying to do it discreetly. Here we go.
That's okay. And I'll also give you the other one, sheets.com. There.
All right, so there's that one there.
And I have to say, while she's doing that, that if you're not a premier member yet of Women Speakers Association, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of benefits to being a member, and I've been a member for several years. Tracy even pegged me as a woman you need to know with WSA. I was
Yes.
like, wow, that was awesome. And I'd love to hear your feedback and know how I can help you, or if you have some ideas that you want to share, just type them in.
Yes, definitely. So we would love to hear from everybody. And thank you again, Alicia. It's been amazing. I love hearing, some things you can't hear enough because depending on where you are with your business, maybe timing doesn't feel right, but just having this information in the back of your mind is so important for all aspects of building out your speaking business. So there's just some incredible tidbits here. And I am thrilled that you took the time to spend with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me.
You're very welcome. All right, everybody. So thank you very much. Please join us again next month for Speaker Chat. We'll let you know who's going to be joining us at that point, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.